Hi, this is Paz from Pictures, Notes and Words, and today I'll be going through my ranking of the 16 studio albums of Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden, my favourite band when I was growing up. They were part of the Holy Trinity with Van Halen and AC/DC. They were my gateway into metal. And Iron Maiden remained my favourite band for quite some time until I listened to Wake Up Dead by Megadeth. Megadeth started to rise. Like Iron Maiden up here, and then Rust in Peace came along, and suddenly they're on even keel. So Iron Maiden and Megadeth still my favourite bands. Today, even after all these years, goodness me. So 16 studio albums. Most Iron Maiden ranking videos I see, the usual suspects are in the top 5 or 6. I suspect this will not be any different. I've seen one where it was really crazy, like they got Number of the Beast down at number 15 or something like that. You like what you like, what can you do? So we'll start at number 16, the bottom of the pile, and that is from. I've got this on CD somewhere, but I can't find it. Luckily. Not sure where it is. Last time I moved house, I've lost a box of CDs, and it's got all the stuff from like Maiden and Wasp and Annihilate, and I can't find it, and I'm really disappointed. But anyway, this is Blaze's second album. This is Virtual 11. Not a very good album, in my humble opinion. It's got its moments. Let's see if I can. I'm a little bit unprepared. I've got the discography up here. I actually saw him on the Virtual 11 tour. I enjoyed it, but I went to Manchester Apollo, and it was half full. It was not, and you can see why they managed to do the twist and managed to get Bruce Dickinson back in, because half full Apollo. It's just shocking. But I remember enjoying it. I thought Blaze was not a good fit for the band, but always great on stage. Always delivered as best he could. I don't think Maiden worked their creative best during the 90s, and I think Blaze bore the brunt of it. So, unfortunately, because I do like the guy. I think he's really talented, and some of his early solo stuff as well is really worth checking out. Future Real, I just thought was fairly by the numbers, a bit weak really. Angel and the Gambler was terrible. Lightning Strikes. I mean, Angel and the Gambler, it's 10 minutes. It's like 2 ideas stretched to 10 minutes. What's all that about? Lightning Strikes is alright rocker. Klansman, a lot of people like it. I think it's a bit overrated really. I think they've done better stuff than that. Tools Collide's alright. Educated Fool, that's really good. I think that's superb, that song. As well as Como Estes Amigos, which is the last one. One of Yannick Gaze's best songs, in my opinion. It's a really good one to finish off with. But Don't Look to the Eyes of a Stranger, that's another 8 minutes with about 2 ideas. It's just awful, with a really thin, weak production on it as well. It just wasn't good, and the cover's terrible as well. Having a football match going on in the back of your major album, releasing an album, you got a football match in it. Don't understand. Rarely go back to it. The Heart Educated Fool sometimes draws me back. Well, other than that, don't give this one a spin at all. So next on the list, it's from 1990. And that is No Prayer for the Dying. Now this is I've got a friend of mine. He loves it. He loves this. I think he likes the raw, stripped down production after the progressiveness of the last few albums before this. But for me, it missed Edge & Smith's influence, whatever that might be. I think it missed it. I don't think the songs stack up. Tailgunner's all right. I remember seeing Holy Smoke first time on the telly and thinking, oh, that's not very good at all. Didn't like the sound of it, the production of it, and they just seemed to be messing about. And that's not what I wanted from Maiden. I mean, they can't deliver every time, but Public Enemy #1 and The Assassin and Fate's Warning just don't leave me cold. No Prayer for the Dying's good though. It's a good song, that. Mother Russia's really good. Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. That's just a standard Bruce fare, that, really. Nothing remarkable. As an Iron Maiden album, I was disappointed after Seventh Son and the run that they had been on up to 1990. This was a bit of a come down, but some people love it. You know, it's a lot higher on other people's lists, mainly because it's stripped back and it got that more raw quality about it. But I think for me, they'd done that. They wanted to go back to and capture the early days, and I think they'd gone too far beyond it to actually recapture it with any great success, which I don't think they did. So, okay, number 14 is... Now, I don't like putting this low, but it's not aged that well, and that is 95's The X Factor. Again, it's in a box somewhere. I do have the CD somewhere. I thought the concept art on it, having more of a 3D actual model, that was quite interesting. And some of the songs are alright, actually. Silent Crossbows like that. Lord of the Flies, not a fan. Man of the Edge, good fast rocker. Fortunes of War, The Aftermath's good. Blood on the World's Hands, bit of a Hallowed Be Thy Name remake in there somewhere. Unbeliever's good. Edge of Darkness is good. It's got the ideas here, but it's one of the worst produced albums I think I've ever heard from a professional band. The only thing that's worse that I've heard is Operation Mindcrime 2. But the guitars are just not there. Drums are far too loud, to the point where I remember sitting in my room with nothing to do. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna add something. So I learnt all the songs and just the rhythm parts of it, and I added rhythm guitars to the album, and it made it sound much better. I think I might still have them on tape somewhere. Really fuzzy guitars, but just added a bit more oomph to it. You took them out, and you think, where's the guitars? Who's mixed this? It's terrible mixing on it. And also there's a B-side called Judgment Day. I think it's a B-side to one of the singles. Why that didn't make it on, I don't know. Yeah, I think also for what they're doing at the moment, I think they should have done. Should they have done a more straightforward rocking album with Blazes first, and then done a more progressive one? Open for debate. Yeah, I think it needed a proper producer on this, but it has its moments, and people do like it for its dark, for its darkness and its somber mood all the way through. But stuff like Judgment in Heaven is just awful. That's a terrible song, that is. So there we go. The X Factor of 1995. Okay, so I'm on that tour as well. That's quite good. I think the Big Eddie at the end. I think Blaze ended up electrocuting him. That was quite entertaining. Excuse me. So moving down, what number are we on? Down to number 13. It's and that is 2010's The Final Frontier. Now this is an interesting one. This has got better for me over the last few years. Every time I listen to it, I think it's not too bad. It's just weighed down with well, if they trimmed off the fat, I think this would be a lot stronger. But you have to judge it on what you're given. But some really strong cuts on here. I like the Final Frontier. If you chop off the first 4 minutes, it's actually like 15-bit. Final Frontier, I think, is a pretty really catchy song. El Dorado, it's all right. Mother of Mercy, that's a belter of a tune. That one of the best ones they've done since Bruce's comeback, in my opinion. Coming Home's really strong. Voice Like the Alchemist. Isle of Avalon, that's a really good song. Starblind's really good, really good. But the last three, Talisman, Man Who Would Be King, and When the Wild Wind Blows, they just meander without really having any real great hooks in it. When I stick it on, I tend to listen to up to Starblind, and then I just drift off after that. The rest of the songs just don't really hold my interest. I would say it's got better as the years have gone by, and I was initially disappointed with it because, as you shall see, the one before it I played a lot. So when this came out and it didn't grab me as much, it didn't seem as creative, and the more progressive side of it seemed more meandering. Yeah, I found it a bit of a disappointment, but it's slowly creeping up the list. So, yeah. Check me in about 5 years' time, it might have crept up another few places. Yeah, some good cuts on there, especially Mother of Mercy. Love that. I think it's a Agent Smith one. That one. Okay, next one we have. Is this 92? It is 92's Fear of the Dark. Some people love this. Me, it's half and half really. Half of it's I think it's really good. The other half isn't really. A bit quicker we're dead. It's one of my favourite fast ones by Iron Maiden. Really gets picked. Always comes behind like Aces High and stuff like that. But I think it's quite underrated opener. From Here to Eternity is fairly standard, but fairly solid. Afraid to Shoot Strangers that's a really good one. Fear of the Key. I don't know. It's needed a stronger production for that to come across. I think. Childhood's End, but I always enjoyed that. Chains of Misery, it's alright. Judas Be My Guide's really good. And obviously, Fear of the Dark. Which I don't really like the studio version. The live version, especially on the Flight 666, it's just immense. And it's one of my favourite live tracks. But listen to it on that, no, I think I prefer the live with the more live production with the bigger guitars. I think production is the weakest Martin Birch produced Iron Maiden album. I just think there's not enough oomph there. Other than that, I think some of the highlights are very high on this, but the low ones are such as Weekend Warrior, God, give me strength. The apparition, not really that great. Wasting Love, some people like that. I've got a friend of mine who really likes that, but I don't know. It's just it's not as good as Coming Home. Put it that way on the last album. So yeah, highlights better than highlights on Final Frontier. But give me 5 years and we'll see where we're up to after that. So what's next? Let me get the year. Number 11, I think this is. It is Dance of Death. And this has crept up a little bit because I was listening to this not this week before, and I think, you know what, some really good solid strong stuff on here. And like Fear of the Dark, there's some stuff that isn't that great either. Wildest Dreams, I think that's a fairly strong opener. Rainmaker, I've always liked that one. No More Lies, I think strong. Dance to Death, that's not bad. New Frontier is pretty good. Passchendaele, that's one of the best Iron Maiden songs they've done for the last 30 years. They should play that more often. It's one of a great song, that is. And it sort of trails off towards the end with Facing the Sand and Age of Innocence. But some really strong highlights on here. And if I'm going back to listen to Iron Maiden, I would rather put the highlights of this on than the highlights. Maybe I've heard the highlights of Fear of the Dark more too often, I don't know. But stuff like Montego, it's not great, that is it. Gates of Tomorrow, I think, don't really like that one either. So mixed bag, but some really strong highlights on there. Passchendaele. Again, if they just took a salami slicer to it and cut off 3 or 4 tracks. It was really, really strong effort. Terrible cover. One of the worst Iron Maiden covers. Probably the worst Iron Maiden cover. It's like someone has designed it on an Amiga in about 10 minutes. Yeah, not great. So, does that mean we're in the top 10? We're in the top 10. Excuse me. Number 10 is the latest one. Oh, I just not like that. Sorry. The Book of Souls. Look at this for a fantastic bit of packaging. Really, I've always loved the cover of that. I don't think it's the strongest album they've done, but really great cover. A couple of double CDs and whatnot. There's a picture of the bed. Can you see that? No. It's the same colour as the lights, unfortunately. That's quite good. That's quite, I think I've got that on a t-shirt somewhere. Really good. Really good. But it was, I think it scored really well with critics and a lot of Iron Maiden fans, but I think it's a little bit overrated than that. Strong start. If Eternity Should Fail's good song. Speed of Light is good. Great Known, I've always enjoyed that. Red and the Black just goes on and on. The songs are just too long. There's nothing wrong with long songs, but you've got to have the ideas in there to back it up. And Dream Theater always had that. I always put lots of ideas in, but when you're repeating a lot of parts, which this does on the Red and the Black especially, then it's easy to drift off, and that's where you need Kevin Shirley as your producer to say, no, hang on, let's cut this down. We can really make a nice tight affair, a really good tight album here. But no, it just goes on and on, and it's the long for this seems to be for the sake of them being long. But I think the ideas are there. They're just diluted a little bit. I think that's probably what I'm trying to. Best way of me trying to say it. Book of Souls is fairly strong, but it's got the riff out of the instrumental from Powerslave. It's too close to that for my liking. Shadows of the Valley is quite good. Tis the Clown, never enjoyed that. Empire of the Clouds, again, shave 5 minutes off that. I think it would have been a much tighter song. I could easily take a knife to this and cut 20-25 minutes off it, and it'd be an Iron Maiden Stonewall classic. Plus, the production on it is fairly terrible. It's demo quality, and that's what disappoints me, especially some of the later albums of Iron Maiden. Is the production is so bad. They've always been a band that love the fans. So why don't they give them a better product, a better produced product than stuff like this and any of the last 4 or 5? It could be better. I mean, yes, it does sound like Iron Maiden, but it can sound like Iron Maiden with it sounds crisp and clean and not something like they've just stood in a room for 11 hours and chucked the whole thing out, which is probably what they did. Kevin Shirley, I don't rate him at all as a producer, and he's mixed it as well. See, I won't pay him in washers. Need to get a better producer. Well, not a bad album though. Got some good highlights. All right, in the top 9. Now the top 9 are fairly interchangeable, to be honest. My number 1 will probably never change, but the next 8 are probably fairly interchangeable. That's next week, and this might change because there's nothing bad coming up now. It's just basically what mood I'm in. So number 9. This is quite low down. It's disappointing when something slows down when you love it that much, and that's 1981's Killers. I must admit, I didn't like this one when I first was getting into metal. I loved the first one. I loved Number of the Beast and Peace of Mind. I know it's kind of skipped over that. I think maybe it's the Diana effect, but then again, I love the first one. Maybe it's the songs, but the songs I think are really strong, and it grew on me, and I'm surprised it's this low, but it just shows you the quality of Iron Maiden discography. Wrathchild, or maybe a song that I've heard too many times. Maze in the Room Morgue, love that. We should play that live. Another Life, it's one of my favourite Iron Maiden songs, period. Instant Exile, strong. Never a big fan of Killers and Prodigal Son. It's alright. But Purgatory and Drifter to finish it off, superb. Got punky vibe, tons of attitude, really well produced. Shame it's on at number 9. I think it's one of my mates are in time. This is his favourite one. You know, I can understand him. I just love that really. The attitude and the punky vibe and the pace and the unrelenting. See, this is quite heavy. Back in 81, when you got something as fairly unrelenting as this, you can see why Iron Maiden were a force to be reckoned with. Great art, one of my favourite artworks. Right, number 8. Number 1 in lots of people's eyes. It's 88's Seventh Son. I have the mug with it as well as my tea. Yes, I remember this coming out, and I liked it. I did not love it when it first came out. I've grown to love it. I think production wise, it's all right. I think others are stronger. I think Only Good Die Young is probably not as strong as the others. Can I Play With Madness? Probably listened to it far too many times. Again, it's the same with The Evil That Men Do, which I love that song when it came out. Can't really listen to it these days. But Seventh Son, really strong stuff. I think The Prophecy's vastly underrated. Clairvoyant, again, another one I've heard too many times. Moonchild, another really superb opener for Iron Maiden, one of the better fast ones they've done. Infinite Dreams, fairly solid stuff. Saw him at Donington in this year, really good, really top quality gig. I think it was near the front as well for Donington 88. Yeah, Iron Maiden's second coming, I think it was. Fantastic. Right, yeah, it will just be a gush fest this now. Number 7 is their debut, Iron Maiden, from 1980. It just goes to show, I mean, the production on it, say, is a little bit lacking, and I think Steve Harris admits that the production could have been better. But I would say, if you've got good songs, the songs will out, regardless of production. When you've got Prowler, Remember Tomorrow, just play Remember Tomorrow in a band I was in. I always loved it. That big riff. Running Free, Phantom of the Opera, quality stuff. Charlotte the Harlot, probably an underrated gem that they don't play that much. And of course, Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden's probably the weakest song on it, in my opinion. I much prefer the Iron Maiden version on the Soundhouse tapes. It's a little bit slower, is it? Yeah, it's a little bit slower, and I think it's got more of a groove to it than the one that made the album. It's a Stonewall classic, this. Yeah, fantastic. So even production, I know they re-recorded stuff for some of the B-sides on this. I remember seeing Prowler. You know what? It didn't have the same charm, even though it sounded much better. There's a charm to the production on this, which I think you can only have if you're a fan. I think if you remember the band, you go, no, it could have done it better. But as a fan, it's all right. Excuse me. Number 6. 2000's Brave New World. Now we are in territories of awesomeness, because I remember this coming out, hearing Bruce is coming back into Iron Maiden, and he said he wanted a better producer. Unfortunately, got Kevin Shirley, but I think he does a decent job on this one, to give him credit. And then I heard The Wicker Man, I thought, that's just amazing. Iron Maiden are back, woo! And then The Wicker Man, Ghost of the Navigator, and Brave New World, Blood Brothers, 4 songs. What great 4 songs to start off your third coming, basically. The Mercenary, straight out rocker, hasn't really lasted that long for me, to be honest with you. And Dream of Mirrors, I could take or leave that. But The Fallen Angel, I'd love to see them play that live. What a real meaty up-tempo rocker that one is. The Nomad, always love that one. I think it's fantastic, even though it's been nicked. I still love it. Out of the Silent Planet, wonderful. And The Thin Line Between Love and Hate is a real underrated Iron Maiden song. That just those 2 songs in the middle for this. They're not big for everything else around it. It's just fantastic. And it got me back into Iron Maiden big time, because I remember, say, after Seventh Son, I did drift off into other things like especially thrash. I think if Iron Maiden were writing stronger albums during the 90s, I wouldn't have drifted off them as much. But they certainly came back, came out the gate fighting on this one, and ended up conquering the world again. It's a good starting off point as well if you fancy some later Iron Maiden, I suppose, because it's got a good mix of progressive stuff and up-tempo rockers. What are we in? Number 5? Top 5? Alright, this is another one of the new ones. It's from 2006. A Matter of Life and Death. It does appear low on people's lists, but this struck a chord with me. I like all of it, apart from the opening, Different World, because it's so different to what comes after. I would have probably just not included that. I think they only put it on because they felt like they needed a fast one to start it off with. I wouldn't bother. We're just going straight into These Colours Don't Run, because that's more indicative of what the rest of the album is. But These Colours Don't Run, fantastic. Bright and a Thousand Suns, it's just epic stuff. Longest Day, really strong. Out of the Shadows, that's really good. Reincarnation of Benjamin Brieg, wow, there's something about that it's just magical. The way it's put together, For the Greater Good of God, fantastic. Lord of Light, really like that. And Legacy is probably my favourite Yannick Gare's penned. I think it's Yannick Gare's penned track, that. And I loved it, and I still love it today. I could easily put that on and go and do something for over an hour, and still really enjoy it. So it's I think because it is quite progressive and not an easy listen, I certainly wouldn't give this to someone and say, "Oh, listen to that. This is Iron Maiden." There's not a lot that you have to put the effort in, I think, to really appreciate this one. But it struck a chord with me. That's why it's in my top 5 Iron Maiden albums. Got some of my favourite Iron Maiden songs on there. I think I've nearly finished my tea. Hang on. Top 4. 83's Peace of Mind. My tea's gone cold. Why is this at number 4 and not number 1? Mainly because Quest for Fire and Still Life. Yeah, I put it out there. Not great. Not my favourite Iron Maiden songs, must admit. I mean, I was giving lots of credit to Van Halen because they did very short albums, and the top 5 songs of Fair Warning, first 5 ones, are really strong, and it's the same with this one. Where Eagles Dare, Revelations, Flight of Icarus, Die with Your Boots On, and The Trooper. I mean, you're only a teenager and you got to listen to those 5 songs. It's just mind blowing, isn't it? And because those 5 songs are so strong, I felt that Still Life and Quest for Fire didn't stack up against them. Sun and Steel was a really good rocker towards the end, really cool solo, sort of pulls it back a little bit. And To Tame a Land, I've always enjoyed that. I always felt it was like the the younger brother of Hallowed Be Thy Name. Basically, Steve Harris tries to do the same thing again. Almost worked, but always worth a listen. Got some really good ideas in that. So back in the day when he had an album with two sides, first side real strong, second side mixed bag. And that's why it's down at number 4 for me. How we doing? Top 3. I mean, anything in the top 9 is as good as metal gets, really, as far as I'm concerned. But you have to sort of try and put them in some kind of order, don't you? Here we go. Number 3, Number of the Beast, is the first thing I heard of Iron Maiden. I remember seeing the album cover of Killers when it was in a local record shop. I'm going, ooh, what's all that? And then saw the following year, I saw the video for Run to the Hills on Top of the Pops. I thought, what the hell's that? That's amazing. And I didn't really get the album for another year after that, because I was still quite young at the time. And then I stuck on this in vinyl back in the day, and Invaders came on, and I had not heard anything like it at the time. How old was I? I can't remember. 12? Can't remember. And that was it. It was a life-changing moment. Invaders of all songs of Iron Maiden, not Run to the Hills or The Troop or anything like it. Invaders. I mean, I liked Run to the Hills, but it's Invaders. I stuck it on. It's the pace and the energy out of it, and it was so well produced. And Bruce Dickinson sounded amazing on it. It's absolutely fantastic. And this is classic after classic. Children of the Damned, The Prisoner, 22 Acacia Avenue, which they should still play. So what an amazing song that is. One of the best. Number of the Beast, probably heard it too many times. Same with Run to the Hills. Gangland gets a bad rap, but I was like that. There's a good solo in there. But listen to it again and concentrate on the solo. Bit underrated in my opinion. And then the mammoth Hallowed Be Thy Name, which they still play. I wish they'd drop Number of the Beast and Run to the Hills and probably put 22 Acacia Avenue back into the set list for me. Because you've heard it so many times. So it is a problem, when you reach Iron Maiden's stature, beloved by fans all over the world of different ages. So you got those crusty old ones, the ones we grew up with, and then I remember the Legacy of the Beast tour in Manchester. We were having a bit of a chat with some of the people around us, and this guy said, "Oh yeah, I've been into Iron Maiden for 19 years. Oh great! His first album was Brave New World, 19 years ago. Goodness me!" And it just shows you that, his first Iron Maiden album was Brave New World. And his view of Iron Maiden is slightly different to mine. He loves he prefers the newer stuff than the old stuff. So that's what you get. Yeah, legacy band, I suppose you can call them. But yeah, this was my introduction into the mighty Maiden. Invaders changed my life. My life went off a different course as soon as I heard that. Yeah. All right. Down to number 2. Oh, and that is 84's Powerslave. Oh, can you get that? I mean, what an amazing album this is. Aces High, 2 Minutes to Midnight, Powerslave, Ram the Ancient Mariner. Powerslave, my favourite Iron Maiden song of all time. And what is interesting, I remember watching an interview with Steve Harris, I can't remember what was on, and he said basically this album is all about 4 songs. There's 8 on it. I thought, which ones are they? Aces High, 2 Minutes to Midnight, Back in the Village, and Powerslave. Obviously, he wasn't counting Back in the Village, but he was wrong. He should, because Back in the Village is amazing. It's they should still play that. And I always have a chat with some of my Iron Maiden loving mates and going, well, they should do a tour where they play all the underrated ones, because they play all the hits like Run to the Hills and Fear the Dark, stuff like that. But wouldn't it be amazing if they played Alexander the Great or Diary of Boots on, or Back in the Village, or the Duelists? The Duelists got a brilliant middle section on that, and all these other album cuts that are really good, but probably don't get the credit they deserve. They should do that. Steve, do that. So yeah, 84 was Powerslave, Back in the Village. What an amazing! Go and listen to it now. You'll find out how amazing song it is. And also, one thing I noticed is in the middle section of Back in the Village, Adrian Smith does this da 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 da, which is also something that popped up again in Moonchild. Real good idea. Did it so good? He did it twice. And Powerslave. Just last little bit of caveat on this. So this sounds like $1 million. I mean, why something from '84 sounds miles better than anything they've done post 2010? I don't know. Just shows you you got to get the right people in. Powerslave, my favourite version of that was on the CD single of Wicker Man. Try and dig that out. I can't remember. I think it was from the Ed Hunter tour, because I think when Bruce came back, they did a tour just of people's votes for their favourite Iron Maiden songs. I think it's from there. But yeah, Wicker Man CD single, Powerslave. It's a live version, and it sounds immense. I think it's slightly quicker, not much, but slightly quicker. But the production on it is amazing, and a superb solo from Dave Murray. They're both really good. Adrian Smith was my hero growing up. I just loved the way he played, the way he held himself on stage, everything. Just loved it. So, dance number 1. This is proper gush fest, this, isn't it? Oh, 86 is Somewhere in Time. Not a weak moment on this one. For me, I just loved that artwork. I used to sit in my room with this on, trying to decipher everything to do that front cover, and the back cover as well. It even has a Wikipedia page. All the little Easter eggs are in there. And Caught Somewhere in Time, brilliant solo in that. Wasted Years, classic. Sea of Madness. They should start playing that again, because that's a heavy riff in that. If you listen to that, that's really heavy. Heaven Can Wait, probably that suffers. I mean, I liked it when it first came out, but they played it on every tour, and it's on every live album, it seems to be anyway. So thankfully they've dropped it. They should play Loneliness is Long Distance Running, because that's a brilliant song. That is. Strangers in a Strange Land, love that. I just have a t-shirt. I had to order that from America. No internet back in the day. Deja Vu. And Alexander the Great, which they still not played live, which they should, because it's brilliant. And the Iron Maidens, the female tribute act to Iron Maiden, they can play it live, so why can't Iron Maiden? Abby, you can take my money. If you promise to play that live, they can have my money tonight. So there you have it. It's my top 10. My ranking of the Iron Maiden discography. Still love them to this day. Yeah. Your thoughts down below. Do you agree with my choice? So yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye.